everyone, today we'll be doing the StoryGraph tutorial for the Boiler Book Club. I'm going to click on the StoryGraph home to take us to the tutorial. I have not signed in just so I could show you guys how to sign in, but if you do not have an account, you can click sign up right here and you can read more about some of the things StoryGraph has to offer down on the page. You can discover books by mood. So you can click on mood for a hopeful or an inspiring or lighthearted book, or you can look for a dark, mysterious, or reflective book, depending on what you want. You can also pick the pace and the type, whether it be fiction or nonfiction, and then include any genres you might want. It also has recommendations for you, like Goodreads. I have found that the recommendations aren't amazing yet, so I think just kind of bear with them right now. So I will be showing you some of the favorite things I find in StoryGraph. I don't find that I'm super sensitive about some of the things I share about reading because I just feel like it's a very, there we go, it's a very just unsensitive thing. Like, it's telling me that these are recommendations and I just have a really hard time believing them. So these are my recommendations. This is kind of my to read pile. I'll start off with the reading challenge. The reading challenge is, if you click on reading challenges, you can see your yearly reading challenge. This year, my reading challenge was 15 books. I've read 15 so far and I'm behind by 9. So I'll have to keep that in mind. But if you go down to, the Boiler Book Club reading challenge, if you've already clicked on it, or you could also browse here and then search Boiler Book Club. Actually, I think if you search, you won't find them because it's currently on private. If you're having issues, please let me know. But you should have gotten a link from either the Discord or the email sending you to the Boiler Book Club reading challenge. We currently have 19 participants and 38 books added. Started at the beginning of the summer, which was, I think, the day after school ended. I counted the summer, and then the day before school, starts is the end of the summer because that's just where we're at. So the book of the summer is The Invisible Life, Addie LaRue. So it's here. Books that's a classic, book with black or gold on the cover, book made into a show or movie, and a book that takes place in the summer. I have yet to find one. I'll actually probably see what other people are doing. It's actually a really good example. So if you want to see what other people are doing, you click on this prompt, and then you can see all the books added by the different people who have already added. So I can see some great examples. Like maybe if I want to watch, read Felix Ever After, I could pick this book or this book. It's really good example of that. So if I just Google books or go in here, books in summer, I spelled it right. I might find something. I feel like the search isn't amazing yet. So you kind of just have to bear with it. It's not a Google level search yet. I've said this in some of my emails or messages in Discord that it's actually owned independently by an African American woman in England, and she's doing a great job so far, but they just don't have the resources that maybe Goodreads has to improve the search algorithms like maybe they could be. So I can't think of a book of the summer. But one of the books I'm reading right now is The Rule of Wolves by Lee Bardugo. It's a great book. I would consider this to have some black lettering. So if I wanted to add this to my reading challenge, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to first add it to my to read pile. I'm actually going to turn it to my currently reading because I'm currently reading it. You could track your progress. I'm about 150 pages in right now. and I am loving it so far. Save update. I'm going to click on the name of the book, which will take me to its page. And on this page, you can see some of the community reviews, the moods. It's adventurous and emotional and dark, intense. People tend to think it's a medium pace. Is it plot or character driven? These are all things that you can consider when you want to see if it's like a good book for you. Something I also look at a lot is the content warnings. So I'm going to click on view summary and see, okay, so there's death, grief, and violence is graphic, murder, blood, drug use, moderate, and then rape and sexual assault, minor. So if you are at all sensitive to any of these things, by viewing the summary, you can keep that in mind and, decide if it's a good time for you to read it right now. But I want to add this to the reading challenge. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and click add to reading challenges. So I'm going to click the Boiler Book Club Summer Reading, and I'm going to save it to a book that is made into a show or a movie. And then click Save Changes. And now if I scroll back down, it will say I've already added it to one prompt. So that is that. And when you mark it as read, for the sake of this presentation, I'll be marking it as read. And now if I go to the reading challenges, I will see that I'm now 20% done with the summer reading challenge. And that is how you navigate StoryGraph. If you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to message me. I have been using StoryGraph for about a year now. I used to use Goodreads, but then I switched over to StoryGraph, like I said, about a year ago, just because I really liked the graphical features. Actually, before I stop, I'm going to show you graphical features. So if you go to profile, you can see what you're currently reading. I mainly read fiction, books that are adventurous, emotional, reflective, medium paced, and of medium length. These are some of the books I've recently read. To read pile, 5-star reads, owned books, tags, and then reading challenges. But if you scroll all the way to the top and you go to reading statistics, you can see the stats. So if I wanted to look at all the books I've read in the past year, I can see that I read 82 books of my 100-book reading goal. And then I can see all the different moods. So I can see last year I was super into adventurous and, moderately into, emotional and reflective and informative. Last year I went through like a nonfiction reading mood. I don't know. A lot of fast paced, a lot of medium. I'm not into like the slow books. My attention span just isn't that amazing for me to sit down and read slow books. Although I did read 19 last year. Page number, I fit very comfortably in the 300 to 500 range. As you can see, I had a nice chunk of nonfiction, 21 out of the 80, which is about a quarter. And then I can see all the genres: young adult, fantasy, science fiction, self-help, and just go all the way down to, I guess I read an autobiography. And then you can see number of books and pages. So throwback to this 2020, COVID happened in March. For some reason, I read less during prime COVID months. Picked it back up in July, read 10 books in July, and it dipped back down as school starts. I'm sure it's no surprise to anybody, and get it, and then dip back up. And it's okay to not read like a straight line. You don't have to read like a straight line. And I feel like most people have this curve. And then here I see all my average star ratings. In Goodreads, you don't have point anythings. So I have a lot of 3s and 4s and 5s, but after joining StoryGraph, I got these 4.5s and 4.75s and 3.75s, and it just became a lot more spread out that way. So if I go back up and look at my 2021 reading stats, you can see I've read 16 books this, And I'm still, definitely fitting in the adventurous and, mysterious and informative. And then you can see the pace, the page number, fiction, nonfiction, genres, and see this nice, curvy slope again. Yeah, so, and here we can see, 2.5, 3.5, 4.25. Two books got this. Artemis Fowl. I loved Artemis Fowl, but I just didn't know. I didn't think they were 5-star books. Yeah, so this is StoryGraph. I hope you enjoy. If you want to read any other types of reading challenges, I highly suggest going to Browse. One that caught my eye was the Psych reading challenge. It seems to be a bit of a negative reading challenge to me. So I didn't want to read it, but I really like the idea and would love to come up with like a different reading challenge like on my own. And then I know there's a modern, excuse my spelling, I'm an engineer, Mrs. Darcy. And, personalized modern Mrs. Darcy. And so these books are all about challenging your own reading preferences and reading maybe outside of what you normally read. I think I'd like to show one more thing. I keep adding things, but I keep remembering things I want to share. I just want to go back to the whole content warning thing. If you are someone who is maybe going through something right now where reading something about something in particular just might not be beneficial, I'd like to show you a book that has more detailed content warnings, just so you can see some of the things that might come up. Last year, actually during COVID, I was like, this book has been on my shelf for literally 3 years. I'm going to read it. I'm going to get it over with. Like, I'm going to just do it. But then I read the content warnings and, emotional abuse, physical abuse, child abuse, domestic abuse. And if you see all, you can see all of the different things that come up. Sexism, panic attacks disorders, blood, all these horrible things. And I couldn't do it. It just wasn't the right time for me. And if you found that maybe these aren't right, then feel free to let me know that, it's probably okay. But just, I don't know, be easy with yourself and don't read something that doesn't fit your life in the moment. Because, there's plenty of things to read out there. You don't have to read a book that's been on your shelf. You could read stuff that's been in the library or, buy new books within reason, secondhand shops, all good stuff. But yeah, just read what you're comfortable reading is something I'd really recommend. And is something I've really taken a lot of value from StoryGraph is reading things I'm more comfortable with. So that is the end of my very long-winded StoryGraph introduction and reading challenge Q&A. Thank you.